All right, it is a very sweaty day in Alabama, and we have actually just finished up the rear fenders. So I wanted to go ahead and roll into kind of the next part of this build, and I was gonna make them one video, but I decided to make them two just because I think it makes more sense. So we've got our rear fenders kind of done, the shape anyway. We've still got to make them out of fiberglass, which we'll do in a later video, obviously, but I wanted to move on to something different. I'm not ready to do the side skirts yet. I need a couple more materials, but I wanted to make another part of this build that's kind of iconic, and it is the spoiler. The spoiler looks like this, and it looks like a really simple thing kind of to make, and so I wanted to try to make it all out of metal in one day. That's the plan. So we're gonna try to do it all today out of metal and get it mounted to the back of the car. I've got a pretty good plan. I'm gonna stray away from the render just a little bit, but I just got done building a metal deck lid with Michael from Wrench out in LA, and it came out really awesome. So I'm very much itching to get my hands on some metal working and build something out of metal. And I think this is a good project for that. So without further ado, we're gonna get started. And I think the first thing to do is just to bend up some sort of skeletal structure out of round two. I'm gonna use 1/4 inch round for that, and we'll just cover it with sheet metal, and I think it's just gonna work. That's the plan. Let's do it. It's fine. Yeah, dude, that worked like a charm. That is really, really cool. Yeah. A little bit long, about a 1/2 inch long, but that's So I got a little carried away last night and went ahead and put some sheet metal in. So hopefully you can see kind of the shape. Sorry the fan's really loud, that's just how it's gonna be. Anyway, hopefully you can see kind of the shape. It's gonna be a real flat looking wing, but I think it's gonna be really cool. What I want to do next is just kind of clean it up a little bit. Add some weld, add some sanding, and make it look a little more complete. Let's do it. All right, so my next thing, I want this all to look like one piece. So we're gonna go in all these seams and just throw some weld in there. I'm gonna try to do this without using any filler, like fiberglass filler. If I have to, I will. But we're gonna throw weld in all in here, all the way down there. And then we'll run a rod across this and make sure that's all level and the same. I think it's gonna end up being about like that, right there. And if I have to, I'll throw in some brace underneath. I haven't decided if I'm gonna fill these panels in all the way yet. I just don't know. What I'm gonna try first though is this and just see how strong everything feels. And if it feels strong enough, we'll leave it like this because I like the little speed line right here and the shape. Everything looks good, I think. So this is the plan for now. We'll see how it goes. All right, so I wanted this wing to be fully adjustable so we can put it like maximum attack, Civic style, just like straight up if we want to, or we could even lay it down flat like a drag style wing. I don't really know how we're gonna run it, but I wanted it to be kind of adjustable. And so the first step of that is putting it on a hinge. So I found these heavy duty piano hinges. They're really low profile, and we're gonna just weld them to the spoiler. We'll bolt them to the car naturally so the spoiler will be removable, but I don't really see any reason of bolting these to the actual spoilers. We're just gonna weld them on, just spot weld them through these mounting holes, and it should be plenty strong enough to keep our spoiler connected to our car. I've already done one of these, but we've got to take the paint off of this. Make sure I'm on the right side. Yep. We got to take the paint off of this so that the weld will actually work. Right, so I went ahead and threw another hinge in the center, mainly for getting everything kind of straightened out. The wing has like a bow in it, which I think will add to strength, which is good. It was kind of accidental. I'm not a metal worker, and I've heard a lot about warping and welding and how welding creates warping. So I wanted to test that out, and we tested it out here. I just didn't give any regard to warping. And so what we've got is a warp that's kind of like this in the wing. So we've actually got to pull the middle backwards for it to be straight, because right now the wing is kind of curved. It's a symmetrical curve, but it's curved backwards. So I threw another hinge in right in the center, and we're just going to take it. We're going to tighten the two sides down, and we'll take the center of the wing and bend it backwards, I hope. And I think that's going to straighten everything out and make this thing look good. Then we can fix all our scratches and stuff. We'll probably give it another sand down and put our supports in, and then I think we're done. And there you have it. This is our custom spoiler. Now it does need a good bit of body work left, just like fenders. I thought about finishing that out, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna stay with this design. I'm not sure I'm gonna stay with this material. I may end up pulling a mold and doing this out of fiberglass or carbon fiber. Carbon fiber would be just for like street cred, but both of those because I'm just better at working with them. Metal is pretty difficult to work with, especially if you don't have like a certain set of tools. Like all I got is a hammer, you know, it came out okay. We had to use a lot of filler, which I'm not crazy about, but we got the result that I needed. We've got to clean up our lines and stuff in the final body working, but this is the basic kind of idea. Now we've got two support rods on either side that we just installed to hold it up and in place, and it is very sturdy. I can't touch it because the paint's wet, but it's very sturdy. I've got two more if I want to support the middle a little bit better, and I think it would be as strong as anything else on this car. So if we decide to do that, I'm gonna wait till we can push the car out so that I can see what's going on. Speaking of pushing the car out, this is the last thing that I'm gonna do before making my fenders. I can't roll the truck because the fenders and everything is kind of built onto the wheels, so I can't move it out to do the back. This is a pretty huge part of the back. We've got to do the diffuser and like some canards and stuff like that we're gonna add, but this was a pretty big part of the whole back end of the truck, I guess. And this is the last part that I'm kind of pulling from the render. The rest will be ideas that I've had on my own while building this truck. The rest of the build will be kind of built specific ideas to tie everything back together. So what that means for us is in the next Datsun video, we're going to start pulling molds. I'm not sure if we're going to do molds or one-off parts for these fenders. I just haven't decided yet. But we'll start making the fenders basically Hoping to do that in one video and it just be a long video of me making them from start to finish. Once the video is done, once the fenders are done, we'll be able to air the truck up and push it away from the wall. We'll be able to get some good shots of it all the way around. I'll get to stand back and make sure everything looks good. And then we will build the diffuser and the side skirts. And then that'll be the body work for it. After that, brake lines, finish out the interior little metal panels, and fuel. We'll have to build a fuel system for it, and then we'll be driving it. It'll be ready to go on the road. We won't body work it first. We'll get it running and driving first, I think, and then we'll take it to body and paint. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Also, the secret word of the day, we're going to bring it back. The secret word of the day is going to be, let's say, PVA. The secret word of the day is going to be PVA. That's the release agent you have to put on to release fiberglass. PVA is the secret word of the day. If you watched all the way to the end, type PVA in the comments so I know that you were here. We'll see how many people actually watched the whole video. I'll see you guys in the next one.